welcome back to another video, and today I'll be discussing the newest makeup announcements and releases. Welcome back, and today I'll be covering the newest makeup announcements and releases that have been made during the last week or so. About today's video, I don't think it was such a busy week compared to maybe the two others. Like, there's definitely some new launches, but I think this is going to be a quicker one. Also about this week's sort of video, so today we're gonna be having the makeup news video, and on the, I think at the end of the week, Sunday, you will be having a haul video. So I made my first ever Yes Style haul, and the haul actually came out quite quickly. I was expecting it to take around 2 weeks, but actually it came within a week, even if there was actually a public holiday here and a weekend in between the time when the order shipped from China and now that it has arrived. So you will be seeing my sort of first sneak peeks of what I got from the order, and I'm also going to talk about in the whole video about the ordering process, and I will also try to include swatches in the whole video. I usually don't include swatches in my haul videos, but now I'm on holiday, so I actually do have a bit more time. Usually you see the swatches once I do the reviews, but I think for the whole video coming later this week you'll be seeing the swatches. But that's a bit about what is coming this week, but now we're gonna be covering the newest makeup announcements. Okay, and so first release of the week, we are still seeing more of these glossy lip products. Maybe it would be time for the brands to stop. I think we have now seen like a bit too many of these. So, but this is from ABH, so this is one of the high-end variations, and this is their, what is this called? The Kiss Theory Hydrating Glossy Shine Lip Balm. That's a long name. I'm just gonna say what I've said about a lot of these launches now that we've been seeing them from all kinds of brands. I think by the time now on the market that if you want this kind of opaque glossy lip product, there's quite many options. I'm a bit unsure is paying ABH prices really worth actually to go and buy this, because I do think there are some drugstore options. And also just in generally, I tried the Makeup Revolution variation of this one. I thought it was pretty gloopy. It could be that, for example, these high-end ones are not so gloopy to apply. Maybe this is actually a bit more like easier to apply, but I would just say that ABH may be a bit late on the game. There are plenty of options for this kind of product already. Armani Beauty is actually coming out with a new blush. So this is a blush stick. So this is the Dolci Blush Smoothing Cream to Powder Soft Matte Balm in 5 shades. It's quite of an interesting description because it says it's cream to powder, but it's also a soft matte balm. And usually matte and balm are not maybe things that I associate with each other, because if you think about balm, you would think it's something very slippery, maybe even something very like something that doesn't settle down. But obviously, because it's saying soft matte, it kind of implies that this is meant to be more of a matte finish. I think in the image there's like only 5 shades. It could be that this is the whole shade range. Not maybe the most, like when I'm looking at the shades, like yeah, there's a bright pink one, then there is actually a more like neutral toned one, which could actually be a bit quite of an interesting color. Then you have a very punchy, almost orangey red, then you have a very deep red, and then you have a more shades. So I think as a shade range, somehow I think the shade choices are a bit like strange, because, well, then again, maybe for 5 shades this is actually quite good, because there's like maybe something for everyone. You do have something punchy in this one, and then you have something pretty muted. But overall, I'm just stick blushes, there's quite many in the market. If you want to pay the Armani prices, sure, I'm sure this works well, but I do have to say for Armani the packaging is a bit cheap. I mean, I would have maybe expected something else than this like very like cheap plastic looking packaging. So that is maybe the only thing that I'm not exactly liking about this one, well, aside from the fact that the pricing is probably pretty high. But yeah, I don't think the packaging is matching probably the price point. These are $39 US, so I think for $39 US I would have expected better packaging. Then we have an indie eyeshadow release for this week. So Gourmande Girls has launched a new palette, and I think this was called the Summerween palette. So Gourmande Girls is continuing their all around here Halloween palette launches. They did a spring variation, now they have a summer variation. I do have to say this is quite fun. Not the kind of colorful palette that I am looking for, but I can see a lot of especially people who like to do these very creative makeup looks with fun punchy colors. I could actually see a lot of people enjoying this one, because I do think it's a very fun color story. Not something for me, but definitely I think that if you are interested in this one, you can already get this from Gourmande Girl's own website, and this is, I think, coming to Monolith Shop's next launch, which is going to be on July. Then a Colourpop launch. I do think it's been a while since we had a full-on, like a complete collection. So Colourpop is doing a Hannah Montana collection. So if you were someone like me who's a millennial, Hannah Montana, this was the thing for all the pre-teens. I remember, I think this even came on like our TV channels, even though this is a very, I think, was Hannah Montana one of those Disney Channel things that if you live in US, you watch this probably on Disney Channel, but I do think one of our TV channels also showed this, and well, I do think that obviously like the packaging of everything is very on brand, but actually when I looked at the eyeshadow palette color story, it's wasn't that inspiring. The color story kind of does match with the sort of color scheme that the Hannah Montana show had, but for me, the eyeshadow palette's color story itself, it's not maybe as maybe inspiring. I do have to say some of the gloss components look kind of fun in this one. They are definitely very on brand with the collaboration, but maybe the eyeshadow palette in this particular collection not exactly my favorite. Then we have a couple of launches from W7. So W7 is a UK-based brand that they do a lot of dupes. It's a drugstore brand. It's one of the drugstore brands that's quite easily accessible, for example, for me. And there's two kind of dupes. So first one, they are coming out with blush quads, and if you have seen the Huda Beauty blush quads, you probably guess that this is what it's duping. I do like W7's cheek products. I think they make pretty decent quality cheek products for especially the price point. Do I really need to buy a blush quad from them? I think I would. This is going to be a skip for me, even though these are probably pretty decently priced, but. For me, I have my fair share of blushes. As I said, I just recently did a Yes Style haul. There's quite a lot of makeup for me to try, but if you are looking for some inexpensive blush options from drugstore, this could be a option. Another dupe that they are coming out, so this is the what are they calling it? Meet Our Latest Glow Theory all-in-one face palette. So this, I think, is duping, I think, Tarte's. Yeah, the Tarte, because Tarte has the sort of three pan face palettes that are in this kind of metallic looking packaging, though because this is W7, I assume it's actually a plastic packaging. There's only two shade variations, so unlike with the blush quads, there's only like two variations, so it might be that not all skin tones will find a match. This is a common issue with W7. Their shade ranges are a bit strange, and they have this very strange thing that sometimes they don't have very fair shades, but they are also like lacking very deep shades. So it's, for example, for me with some of their base products, it's been a bit difficult to find matches. But if you can find your shade match from these two palettes and you're looking for something similar that, for example, Tarte has offered previously, you could try this out, because as I said, I do think for their price point, W7 does pretty like decent like cheek products in general. I do think though the liquid products might be my favorite from the powders, but still. Then this is probably going to be the most expensive lip liner launch of the year. I usually don't talk about lip liners that often because they're, as a makeup product, they're not just that interesting for me at least, but I thought that I would have to cover this one. So Louis Vuitton Beauty is expanding their line and they are coming out with LV crayons. So these are obviously like lip liners, as I said. As a design, I do like the ombre design. This is makes them look very sleek, very expensive, which is the second part of this one. So these are $58 US each. So for one single lip liner, you would have to shell $58 US, which you can get a pretty decent eyeshadow palette for that price. You can even get I would say already a high-end foundation for that kind of price. So, and I think you can get also like pretty decent lip liners even below, like you don't have to pay that much. Obviously, like for a Louis Vuitton customer, this probably isn't like big amount of money. That like obviously they are very much targeting. I don't think they are anymore like targeting the high-end makeup consumer. This is truly for those people who want to pay luxury prices for their like makeup or any other products. But yeah, $58 US for lip liners. For that price, this would have to do miracles and maybe even pay my rent and also pay my utilities for that matter. But yeah. But as I said, the design, this looks very elevated, very luxe, phenomenal looking, but I will just say that for this price point, you can get quite a lot of like good makeup under this price point, and it's something else than just a simple lip liner. But I have no doubt that the quality of those, it must be pretty good. Givenchy is coming outside with some new lipsticks, so they are coming out with new G-Square Haute Couture satin lipsticks. Well, I am a fan of satin lipstick and I always complain that we don't get them that much, so someone heard my wishes. Though because it's Givenchy, we are talking about another very expensive brand. How are these priced? There's no pricing information of this one yet, but generally, at least, the prices I've seen online, Givenchy's lipsticks are quite pricey. It's a pretty like extensive range. We get some pinks and there's some reds. Usually with especially luxury makeup brands we see a lot of reds. With this one I'm actually happy to see that there are like nice neutral looking pink shades in this one. I'm especially looking at the number 17 shade, which is a deeper, it's like deep mauvish pink, which is a lip color that I seem to buy in a lot because it's a lip color that I like. But yeah, so I have no idea when these are actually going to be available. Release date is also coming soon. So yeah, we don't have a release date for this one yet, but if you've been looking for satin lipstick and you want to pay the very no doubt expensive prices that these are gonna be, just wait for these to launch. But the finish of these, at least based on the promo images, these do look kind of nice. And then I think this is probably one of the, I don't know, it was this like highly expected, but Too Faced, I think it was early spring when they teased that they are gonna be bringing out their iconic peach collection back, and then we kind of like waited, and then there was no news. Like they had a short teaser somewhere around spring, and then nothing was heard. I was like thinking that okay, well maybe it was postponed or something, but now they have at least launched some initial promo images, and I believe they had a PR event somewhere in US where there were some influencers also saw a sneak peek of this one. So far the products that we have seen that I know that are in the collection that are in the image, there's the eyeshadow palette obviously, and then one of the big looking jars, which would, like I was initially thinking that are there also going to be like body care products, because well a peach and the body cream would make sense, but actually the big jar, that's actually a loose powder, because that's something that they have revealed. They published a video about that one. But the other products, I think one of the products could be a primer. I'm thinking that is the one that has the peach embossing in the background. Could that be a balmy like a blush? Because that would probably make sense considering that it's a peach tint collection. Now about the eyeshadow palette that you're seeing on the image, this looks very boring. I would say that the original peach, like I was kind of having bit like maybe I shouldn't maybe with Too Faced these days have too high of a expectations, because their launches are definitely not what they used to be, especially like before pandemic, but I was maybe expecting that could we see a elevated sort of peach palette that maybe would have some like, not these like super like shifty multichromes, but maybe bit something like fun in terms of the shades. But actually now I'm looking at this, I'm thinking that yeah, actually if you have to still have the original peach palette, that still might be a better option, because at least the palette that I'm seeing in this image, this looks very boring. It looks like there are maybe like 2 peachy shades that I'm seeing, and otherwise it's a very like basic looking brown neutral palette. So the packaging is fun, but maybe so far the product sneak peeks that I have seen, not so much. I will be following up with this one, so if we get more products, it could be that these are just maybe like some initial products that they're showing, but if we get more products and if they are maybe a bit more exciting, I will cover this more. But so far, while the packaging is definitely giving out Too Faced Peach collection, not so much maybe what is inside of them. And then the last launch of the day, and we are seeing another glossy lip product. So Rare Beauty is coming out with their variation of this glossy opaque lip product. So this is the a juicy 3-in-1 hybrid that treats like an oil, shines like a gloss, and delivers bold buildable color that's comfortable to wear for up to 12 hours. I have no doubt that because this is a glossy lip product, unless you don't really eat or drink during daytime, it's not gonna be lasting all the way to 12 hours. As I said with the ABH one, I think the market is pretty saturated with these ones, so maybe Rare Beauty, maybe they could have skipped this product and maybe actually brought out a completely another type of lip formula to like step out from all the like other glossy lip products that we're now seeing. So Rare Beauty isn't that expensive for a Sephora brand, but for me, I already have tried one version of this product. I don't need it. But if you are a big Rare Beauty fan and you want to specifically try this from Rare Beauty, they are coming out with their variation of this particular product. those were all the products I had to discuss for this week. Nothing much that interesting. As I said, the Too Faced Peach collection launch, that was maybe interesting for the fact that I did want to see like kind of what are we doing now with this quite iconic sort of like not brand but iconic collection that used to gather a lot of attention on the old makeup YouTube, but so far not that impressed. But maybe, who knows, maybe Too Faced will surprise us and they will actually bring out also some products that will get at least my attention, but we shall see. Comment down below what were your sort of top makeup releases from this week. If you liked this video, push the like button, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell button if you want to get notifications from my future content. You can also find me with the same nickname, Makeup Hedgehog, on Instagram. I hope I see you soon on the video. Bye bye!